provide more paper ballots. And with the help of the nonprofit group Election Protection, NBC will be monitoring reports of any voting problems or issues all day tomorrow. We've been doing it, frankly, for the last couple of weeks. Live from the Making Your Vote Count studio in Election Plaza is Rahema Ellis, and she's covering it all for us. Rahema.
Chuck, thanks very much. You talked about that huge number of new voters registered. It's likely to go up a notch as a result of some who found that they have not been able to register yet. We want to bring in Jonah Goldman, who's down in Washington, D.C. As you pointed out, he's working with us with Election Protection. And Jonah, we've been hearing that there's a lot of new voter registration backlogs. Can you tell us where is that happening and why is it happening?
Thanks for him, and it's great to be with you. Yes, we're seeing registration backlogs, new registered backlogs in places like New York and Virginia. We're seeing evidence of it possibly in Florida. We're getting calls from really across the country that are suggesting that new voters may not get on the roll.
And why is it happening that there is such a backlog? Is it because there's just so many people who are requesting these registration applications?
Yeah, it's really happening because the registration system can't necessarily handle it. You know, it's incredible that we're seeing such an increase in participation, but we haven't really seen the same increase in resources to election administration.
That's one problem. Another problem we want to get to quickly before we run out of time, something called robocalls. They're happening particularly in one of those key battleground states such as Pennsylvania. Tell us about that, Jonah, and what is a robocall exactly?
A robocall is an automated call. Often these are used by campaigns in completely legitimate ways to basically inform voters about information about the campaign. But what we've seen is deceptive robocalls, telling people to vote on the wrong day, telling people to vote in the wrong precinct. But luckily voters have a resource in 866ourvote.org where they can go and they can see on an interactive map their state and the real rules for their state.
Jonah, thanks so much for joining us. Chuck, we want to let you know that there are other problems such as absentee ballot backup in places like L.A. County and in Washington, D.C. And Election Protection has gotten over 18,000 calls a day from L.A. County. People wondering where their absentee ballot is, but they'd like to mail it in.
Well, thanks very much. As we mentioned, NBC is partnering with the nonprofit group Election Protection to make sure your vote counts. So if you have a question about voting or problems at the polls, volunteers from Election Protection will be available to answer your questions. Just call 866-OUR-VOTE. And if you have a BlackBerry and you're dialing on it, you're just going to have to figure it out and all that. So where does the race stand right now?